It's working. Happy Monday, everybody. I had a little bit of technical difficulties, so my son had to come in and help me. So I'm 2 minutes late, but I'm here because my son saved me. Okay, so I am really excited. First off, you guys can let me know in the chat, how are we doing today? In case you guys didn't know, I didn't realize this until I looked at my beautiful planner, that today is not only President's Day, I did know that, but today is also Random Acts of Kindness Day. How cool is that? Random Acts of Kindness Day. Did anybody know that? That's so fun. Okay, so we're not talking about random acts of kindness today. We are going to talk about perspective. This is something that I think is extremely important for emotional intelligence, for maturity, for the ability to expand and grow in life. I think it is imperative that you are able to look at things from multiple perspectives and be able to change your own perspective as you find out more information and you become more educated, rather. So first off, if you're here, let me know who you are, because I can't see because the system's crazy. And so, yeah, I'd love to know who's here, and let me know again, did you know that it was Random Acts of Kindness Day? Okay, so today's topic, I didn't have time to rewrite my notes, so forgive me if I'm kind of looking in two different spots, because I brainstorm what we're going to talk about on Monday Moves. And then as the weeks go and I am in the community and I see how other people are showing up and sharing and practicing past Monday Moves topics, we sometimes tweak them. So last Monday, I missed you guys here for Monday Moves because we had the Love Yourself Day 1 at the exact same time. And for anybody who was present for the Love Yourself event, I know how that felt. You guys were playing full out. Some of the ahas and the breakthroughs were absolutely game-changing for some people, which is such an honor to experience that with you. But ultimately, what we talked about on day 1 was a youthful energy and rewriting your narrative, your story. And so I love to talk about this from a youthful standpoint, because I think kids are the best. I love kids. I think kids are awesome. I think that they are the best teachers. And speaking of kids, I just realized in the background here, my kids left, this is gross, a bag of pepperonis. That's gross. Who knows if that was from last night or this morning. But kids are the best. And I love looking at this from a kid's perspective, because a lot of times, correct me guys if you have never had this experience, but a lot of times you can talk to a kid and you can tell them something, fact, like a matter of fact, like this is what's going to happen, blah, 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 blah. And if somewhere along that journey, there's a loophole or an error made by an adult, especially if it's the mom or the dad, kids, depending on their comfort level with their own confidence, will speak up and say, hey, actually, that's not exactly what happened, right? For example, a simple example that my kids do to me, both Azile and Arbor, all the time. It drives me crazy sometimes, because they'll say, Mom, what time is it? And I'll say, it's 8 o'clock. And they're like, Mom, it's 7:58. It's not 8 o'clock. I'm like, it's close enough to 8 o'clock, guys. But it's a perspective. To them, every minute matters. To me, I'm like, let's round it up, because by the time we get our shoes on, it'll be 8:05, right? So the perspective of having a childlike view, I think, is really, really powerful. There's something that children do that we don't do as much as adults, as I wish we did, personally, as I wish I did. And that is being present in the moment. And when I think about how they're always correcting me to the minute, and if somebody has the seconds on their watch, they will tell me, Mom, it is 7:58 and 20, 21, 22. They'll give me the entire countdown. And as frustrating as that has been for me sometimes in the past, because I'm like, can we move on, right? Or are we just trying to be combative, or what are we doing? It's always a reminder to be present and to look at it from a different angle. And so that's what I wanted to talk about today. I am co-leading another Facebook community called Be Extraordinary, and it's a women's network. And in there, I shared this past week about shifting your perspective. And shifting your perspective is what I was saying in the beginning, this emotional intelligence, this ability to just, kind of remove yourself for a second, remove yourself from the situation and look at it from another angle. And there was a GIF that I saw that I really, really liked, and I want to share it. So it was a circle, and I'll post it in here when we're done, but there was a circle and there was a bunch of angles, a bunch of lines connecting to the circle, but it was kind of shifting all around. And some things were bigger and then they were smaller and then they were bigger over here and smaller. And that's what happens when we look at things from different angles, is sometimes it's a bigger problem and sometimes it's actually not, because we've shifted our perspective back to what matters most for us, or maybe to empathize with somebody else in the scenario. And now all of a sudden, it's not this monster problem anymore. It's shifted. It's just changed a bit. You guys, this week we are kicking off the Come Alive Coaching Circle. And to say that I'm excited is an understatement. I really cannot put into words how much my heart cannot wait for this. Like my entire being has been ready for this for months. And it was just a matter of timing and getting it all together. But a big part of coming alive is detaching yourself from old stories. It's detaching and making space for possibility and opportunity and trusting that process. Because when you've been attached to a story for so long and it's part of who you are, your identity, when you go, wait, there could be another side to this. Oh, so the person that wronged me all those years ago, whether they're a family member or just a random school teacher that told you were an idiot, and you believed it because they're an adult and you're a child, whatever that is, that story doesn't actually, it's not who I am. Like I actually can detach from that story. It's very scary and it can feel very painful. And it can also feel on the other side of it, the other side of the coin, it can also feel exhilarating and nervousness, like so much like, I don't even know. I can't even believe I'm doing this. Oh my gosh, I can't believe I'm going to rip this Band-Aid off. I didn't even know this was a Band-Aid. I thought it was actually part of my skin. It's blended in for so long, right? And so perspective is huge. And it's really one of the first things we're going to be talking about in there. And some of us have already done the work from the 3-day event, but we can always do this work and always evolve every single day. So what I wanted to ask you guys for Monday Moves today is to think about a story, and it could be something that just happened over the weekend or that's happening this week if something pops up, that whether it's good or bad or, it's just a situation, a story or a situation that makes you feel compelled to either your energy shifts, maybe you like when this thing happens, for example, I don't want to use this example. It's too triggering. Never mind. Let me think of another one. So I was actually just writing an article for a magazine this weekend, which is really cool. A fellow coach referred me and recommended me, and I thought that was so cool. And then I got to pass that along and refer 2 more people, which actually are here in our community and are also online entrepreneurs or coaches. So I hope that they will reach out to you guys and then you'll know who you are. But when I was writing this article, I was reminded of a situation. I'm going to share this story. I think this is a better one. A situation last year. So some of you joined the Love Yourself event. It was last week, right? You can put it in the chat if that was you. And if you are putting things in the chat, guys, I really am sorry. I can't see you. I'm actually going to see if I can open this up another way. So maybe I can see something. But last year in 2024, I did a 3-day event and it was called, I can see you guys. I'm sorry, Teresa and Sarah. I couldn't see you guys before. Hannah, you're here too. Thank you guys. I'm sorry, I could not see the comments before. So last year when I did a 3-day event, I called it Dance Through Life. It's actually where I met Sarah. And Dance Through Life was scheduled for, I don't remember the exact date. It was, I don't remember. I'm terrible with dates. So anyways, it was scheduled for, let's just say, a Monday, Tuesday, and a Wednesday, just like the Love Yourself event. That Friday before that event, my brother died. And my brother died, it wasn't like an expected death. His health choices definitely didn't leave him on a healthy path. His life choices didn't leave him on a healthy path. But the death wasn't what we thought would happen when he would go into the hospital. We thought mid-March. Yeah, it was somewhere around there. We just thought he was going to go in and get some care, and he was feeling really weak, and they were just going to, give him some IV and detox his body from the chemicals that were in his body. And that wasn't the case. He never came out of the hospital. Now, I'm sharing this story with you guys because there are many perspectives in this story, okay? There's my brother's perspective as the patient, okay? There's my mother's perspective as the mother, which I can't even imagine losing your son. I have no idea. I think that's the worst. When you lose a kid, I can't think much worse than that. And then there's the nurses and the doctors, and then there's me, right? Thank you, Hannah. Then there's me, that I'm disconnected. My brother and I were not super close. We were a huge age gap. I'm adopted, so it's a huge age gap between my oldest brother and myself. And the way this story played out, and the reason why I'm sharing this is because actually when I wrote about it over the weekend, it was all about perspective. When this played out where my brother passed away, and then my mom didn't get a phone call right away. She was livid. My brother had passed away. He had been gone for hours. Even like it was the next day. My mom called to check in, and they told her, by the way, he's no longer here, you know, he's dead, and we tried to call you. Well, my mom was like, you know, like, imagine, you guys. She was like, what do you mean you tried to call me? He was alone and no one could even call me to tell me, you know, she was crazy mad. And when my mom called me to tell me, of course, I'm hearing that, and I'm heartbroken for my mom, and of course for my brother, because his life it was not beautiful. The last several years, he was miserable, okay, depressed. But I'm hearing this from my mom, and my mom's so mad. And in the moment, she's so mad, she's so angry. And I'm like, but mom, this doesn't make, she's like, they should have called me. You know, maybe there's a lawsuit there. And I was like, what? You know, and please know that I love my mom dearly, and we are all just a process of grief in these moments. So no judgments at all. But it didn't make any logical sense. No logical sense that my mom wanted to be so angry at the healthcare when my mom's not a doctor. She knows nothing, right? She knows nothing about the care that they gave him. Even if they told her what they did, she can't understand what each process was doing to his body and how his body came in and how it would be reacting. So the perspective was of a mother, right? And she was angry and she was sad and she was beyond heartbroken. So when you take yourself out of different perspectives and you allow yourself to see the whole picture, not only do we put some context to it and we can calm ourselves down, and not everybody's dealing with grief in this moment, but we can put some logic into it. And sometimes, you guys, we need to lead from our heart. We really do. Sometimes we need to lead from our brain. We are human beings. We have incredibly complex brains, okay? But we really have this beautiful dance between the two happening every single day, all day. And what happens is sometimes we get so into our heart. We're so passionate about something. We feel it so deeply. Oh, that's terrible, Sarah. I'm sorry to hear that. It's rough. We feel it so deeply that the heart just takes over and the logic goes out the window. Because when I said to my mom, I asked her certain questions that made logical sense, she didn't have answers and she didn't even care. And I was like, these matter. They matter in the story, Mom, because what you're thinking can't possibly exist if these things lined up. Can I call the nurse? So she gave me the permission, she gave me the number, I called, and it made so much more sense. So when I called my mom back to tell her, it still didn't make logical sense to her because her heart was still so ripped open, right? And so my point in this perspective share here, you guys, is when you're feeling it and when you're in the thick of it, sometimes you're too logical even. You're like, yes, but they should have said no. Whenever somebody says yes to something and you're like, but they should have said no. Well, why should they have said no? Because I would have said no. You know, like we can overthink things sometimes and it doesn't make any sense. And then we can use too much of our heart and then it's like it's not making logical sense. So the dance is real between the heart and the brain 100% every day, all day. But I just want to share this perspective, and I wasn't planning on sharing that story, but it just was one that came to mind because I personally, and please, this is just me personally, don't go, oh, well, this is how it is. I'm just sharing with you what I know works for me. I personally view all the hardship in my life, anytime there's ever been one. That situation, my brother died on a Friday, my event was on Monday. I thought, oh my gosh, I'm gonna have to cancel my event, fly home to be with my mother. She cannot be alone. You know, my brother lived at home with my mom, so like she can't go back home and he not be in the house. Like I don't trust that she's gonna be okay over the weekend. I was really worried. But another part of me had to logically get my heart out of the way and say things to myself like, the way his life ended was all on him. That's not me. I didn't do that to him. I didn't ask for that for him. We are adults making our own choices every day. You live the life you create, people, right? And on that same note, for my mom as well, as much as it's hard sometimes to have tough love, you cannot enable people. And me going home would have enabled my mother to stay sad and stuck. Instead, I knew if I stayed away and I stayed on a phone call, I could empower her from a different perspective versus being in it with her. And so you guys have all navigated situations like this or similar, different stories, but similar heaviness to them. And I chose to stay home and I chose to proceed with my event. And the perspective of this for me was, I should just cancel it. That's the easiest thing. I should go because family is number one for me. I should just cancel it and I should just go. That was the logic. That's what we should do. But then I said no, because I'm building something that's bigger than me here. This a 3-day event that I had done in 2024 wasn't about me. It was about my dream, which is to help other people dance through life. That's my dream. That is my dream. I dream it every day. I do my best every day to live into that dream. To be the dream. My daughter brought me this little chocolate wrapper last night and it says, be the dream. And I was like, thank you. I'll keep that on my desk. And so when you have a perspective that's not about you, you become a person of service. Okay. So hear me out here. This is where perspective can get really powerful for you. When it becomes less about you and more about others, things fall into place a little differently. Okay, so we've already talked about leading with the heart and the brain, that dance. And now we're going to talk about moving it into the concept of perspective in form of service to others. So when you're stuck in life and you're fighting through a past limiting belief or a past identity that for sure you do not want to carry with you anymore because it does not make you feel good and you're not the person you want to be, and you're carrying extra baggage, whether that's physical, like you've got a lot of clutter in your space, or you've got a lot of extra weight on your body, or your health, you don't feel as vibrant, or I think about this as far as teeth a lot of times. Teeth are a huge tell in our lives. And so when your body is experiencing things, it's just a little sign. And when I think about this, I'm like, okay, well, what stories are attached to this identity, this thing that's happening that I'm living? When you start to change the perspective of your stories and you start to see them as catalysts that actually allow you to go further faster, which is what I did with my brother. I allowed that story to flip in my head and go, this is why I'm doing this. You guys, this is why I'm doing this. It really is. I am creating online programs and coaching, and I do this because I see pain. I see it in my family. I see it in my friends. I see it in so many people that I love dearly that I just wish could dance through life. I wish they could I just wish I could take everything off of them and throw it in the water and let it float down, and it would never come back to them. And they would be confident in their body. They would be proud of who they are. They would laugh more or at all. They would smile. Some people that I know don't smile. And so my brother was one of those. And so I didn't cancel my event. I didn't stay stuck in this heart, oh my gosh, freak out. I said no, because this was the whole reason I started in the first place. Because I want to get people out of this stuck mentality, this depression, this bad habit routine of, well, this is what I do. This is the amount of energy I have. No, it's not. BS. That's a story you've believed for too long. It's a bad belief system. It's broken. And so we did the Dance Through Life experience, and I poured all of my heart and all of my love and all of my energy into every single day. And then look, I meet Sarah and many, many other people, Donna Link and Aslan, and so many incredible people that are members of our community here. And they've been with us for over a year now, or about a year. And it's because when you follow your why, your story is so passionate and so lit up as to why you're doing it. So not the story that you've been in, guys. The story you've been in is just part of the journey. Okay. The story of where you want to go, the dream and your imagination, the possibility, the opportunities, that you have to follow that. And every time you go to follow it, something's going to come up. Okay. My brother died. That sucked. We didn't plan that. That came out of nowhere. Like, yes, there was drugs and alcohol and years of it, and poor diet and bad exercise. But I mean, nothing that was like, oh, this is a ticking time bomb. This is going to happen. Right? So, but where I want to go with this is I really believe this with all of my heart. And it's been this way over and over and over again in my life. I have proof of it. When you're on the cusp of really breaking through that next barrier, I want to show you guys something. I've showed this before. It's been a while, so I'm going to show it again. Okay, let's see if this will work. When you're on the cusp of breaking through, so if this is where you are right now, okay, and you're trying to break through the bubble, you're trying to get to the next level, right? You're just trying, you might even be trying lots of different things. Like I used to sell Jamberry nails. Like they're like little nail stickers. There's so many better ones now, but back in the day when those came out, they were huge. I used to sell those as a means to try to make more money for myself as a stay-at-home mom without compromising like being out in the house. My son and I sold Usborne books for like 2.5 years. We loved it. We read a lot. You know, we tried a lot of arrows to go out to, for me, build some sort of self-worth outside of just being a mom. Those were all, that's what those things were. I teach dance, all the things. What happens when you shoot these arrows out, and I'm using the word arrows, Sarah. So what happens when you shoot these arrows out is you don't know how many of these arrows you're going to have to shoot out because they're going to all come right back. Sometimes they're going to hit the wall and come right back. I mean, I did Jamberry for like, you know, sometimes they come back. I did Jamberry for like, I don't know, 1.5 years, 2 years. Loved it. It got really hard and really direct sales was really weird to me too. That I was like, they kept coming, the arrows kept coming back. You know, like I'd book parties and we'd make sales, but I was like, you know, sometimes the hostesses would stress me out a lot. Sometimes they were friends and I felt like they were just doing it out of obligation as a friend. And I'm like, no, do you want them or no? Don't do it if you don't like it. And then when I did the books, we shot out so many arrows. We did so many things. And we even put in a little free library in our neighborhood. We raised enough money to put a little free library and it's still there. We go stock it all the time. We check it out. It's a huge hit in our neighborhood once we moved in here. Like we did a lot of cool stuff as a family, but you never know how many arrows you're going to have to shoot out before you pop through to the next level, to the next level of you. Okay. And I share this. This is not my analogy, this visual. This is a Tony Robbins visual. I learned this from Tony Robbins and I loved it so much. So I share this because it could take you 15 arrows to go out. It could take you 100 arrows. You don't know how many it's going to be. But oftentimes in my life, there's a really big one, like something that's really big and heavy that like there's an arrow shot back at me that's really big and heavy. And if I don't give up and if I don't quit, when that big, heavy, awful arrow comes, I know that if I can just push through it one more arrow, I know I'm going to pop through to the next side. I believe that. And I have experienced that. And that perspective of thinking of it as arrows going out, like I'm doing the best that I can every day to serve my kids, myself, you know, exercising and keeping myself healthy, my husband, my family, like my mom, my aunt, you know, be a good person. All of you guys, you're like, I just do my best to be a good person. Am I perfect? Absolutely not. No one is. Come on. But I know that when something big comes, if I can just like have enough resilience through that thing, I know that there's something massive on the other side. I believe it. That's my perspective. And that's a very healthy perspective because it allows me to go, ooh, on the other side of this, there's something really good. And I did. I persist. That's what I do. And then we pop through and we go to the next level. Now, this next level could be really close sometimes, like a really close one. And then sometimes the next level can be like this monster leap that you've just taken. Now my pen doesn't work. This monster leap you've just taken and your circle expands drastically. Do you understand? So I love this visual. It's not my visual. I'm not that creative to come up with a visual, but you guys see it, right? And every time you're throwing out new arrows to the next level, new arrows, and they're going to come back. They're not the first arrow. I don't believe for anybody ever works. You don't even know where to aim it. Your arrows feel super heavy. I'm looking forward to a fellow archer. Ah, yes. Yes. I love that, Sarah. That's a beautiful analogy. Me too. Me too. It's going to be beautiful. And it's part of it is the perspective of just having faith, you guys, and I think everyone here in this group has faith of some level, right? Some of us have stronger faith than others. Some of us maybe are just starting to build our faith, and that's cool. It's fine. No worries. You're always exactly where you're supposed to be, even though I hate that saying. I've always hated it. It's so true. So I just want to share, if you could change your perspective on any tough situation, look at it from a different angle. If you know you are heart-centered in this, can you just try to have, even if it's not you have a conversation with somebody that you know is logical. That's one of the reasons I love my husband so much. My husband is like the perfect life partner for me. If I ever feel stuck, and even when I know the answer, like I know logically, like could just be overthinking it or whatever it may be, I'm getting too emotionally attached. I just have to ask him, hey, this is what I'm thinking. And I don't even have to say too much because we've been married long enough now and known each other. He'll put in the other perspective for me. And oftentimes that perspective does not feel good. It's not like oh, honey, it's okay, I love you. No, he's like, that's all you got, or like, is that what you want? It's something so simple where I'm like, no, it's not all I got, or no, it's not all I want, or no, I can do better than that. I'll be like, is that as creative as you can be? And I'm like, no, it's not. It's just a simple question, but it's that perspective that's key, you guys. So again, Sarah, you already just said it. It's finding people that can support you. And that's what the circle 100% is for. 100% is for. It's to come together. And funny that I did not plan to share this today. Everything I do for Monday Moves, guys, I have a topic. I have like 2 sentences that I type in my phone for my notes as I'm out and about and I'm inspired throughout my days. And then sometimes I'll elaborate more like on my notebook here for other points or ideas or quotes. But a lot of times I trust. It's my word for the year, by the way, is trust. I trust the process, and I know that what's going to come through like my mouth is meant to be. And if I mess up, that's also meant to be. So the circle analogy goes perfect with reminding you guys that the coaching circle is starting on Thursday. Thank you, Sarah, for weaving that together for me. But you guys, it's a perspective that you can do by yourself. 100%. You can, of course you can, but it's also a perspective that when you have somebody who really wants the best for you, is going to challenge you out of the most love and respect that they have for you. That's what my husband does. He loves me. He doesn't challenge me because he wants to be a jerk and bully me. Right. And that's what I'm going to do for everybody in our community, is I'm going to challenge you when I feel that there is a space to do it, and not to be mean and say, no, not enough, but to say, is that where you're at? And you'll know, yes, that's it. No, it's not. Okay, let's go deeper. Yes, that's it. It's as far as I can go. Beautiful. Let's celebrate that. Right? Always different perspectives, always more to explore in life, but ultimately it's taking the bow in your own hands. It's taking the bull by the horns. It's being the choreographer of your life, however analogy you want to spin that, metaphor you want to give it. You guys, we all have the ability to dance through life. And that's all I ever want to remind you guys of. So I really hope that this was timely for someone that's watching. I would love for you guys to share your takeaways about perspective. Sometimes there's a story that you can share that might inspire somebody else. Like, oh my gosh, this one time, I'm going to go with something with like when I was a kid. This one time I got in trouble. This is the only time I ever got in trouble in school. I'll share this story. Like in trouble. There was a girl who was bullying me for like 2 months. And the first month I was really sad about it and upset, and I hated school and I hated myself and blah, blah, blah. You're preteen, you hate it in middle school. The second month I was mad. She pushed me too far, and she started writing notes, really mean notes, and putting them in my locker. And they would have a lot of cuss words on them. And not only did I not like the notes that were in my locker because they were mean, but I was always afraid to get in trouble. And so the cuss words and stuff, I was like, this is going to get me in trouble. Someone's going to see me holding this note and it's going to say, it has like F-bombs on it and all these things. And I was like, how dare her, try to get me in trouble with other people. If she wants to be mean to me, that's one thing, but like, you don't get to. So I got mad. And 6th grade, Ashley decided that the right thing to do was to start writing notes back to her. And they were mean, equally as mean as what she was writing to me, but I didn't really understand the context of the words I was writing either. And one of my notes that I wrote to her, which was mean, Doesn't need to be said what was said on it because it was ridiculous. She turned it into a teacher. So I learned a lot. I was like, I turned it into a teacher. And when they called me in, the teachers all sat me down and read the note to me out loud, which the words were kind of, in my mind, very vulgar. I couldn't believe that these adults were saying these words to me. I was embarrassed. And the perspective in that moment, I remember being in 6th grade and being like, my head was like, of like, how did this happen? And how did we get here? And what is this? Like, what is this? This is not, that's not right. Where's all the notes that she wrote in my locker? Where's the past months of her tripping me? She accused me of stealing her shoes. She had other people picking on me. Like, she was so mean to me. But yet she's sitting there right now as like this innocent little victim. And I was like, steam, but I was also pulling it together. So the perspective, I remember in 6th grade sitting there going, this story is not the same from every single person sitting at this table. Like the story, right? There's many, many stories. So challenge yourself. You don't, but crazy that you can remember what it said. Yeah, it was not a good note. And I wrote it in red lipstick, trying to be extra scary. I watched a lot of scary movies growing up, you guys. There was no such thing as like inappropriate for children. So I just thought I was going to take it up a notch, and it just looked really bad, and it said words that it didn't mean to say. So yeah, I remember. I'm embarrassed that I even did that as a kid. I've even told this story to my kids, and they're just like, "Mom," I'm like, "No one's perfect, you guys. You live and learn. Like, just don't do what I did. Okay, that's really mean." And they were like, "We would never." I'm like, "Thank goodness." What was I thinking? But again, perspective. I can look at that now and laugh, right? Yeah, Teresa, you can laugh. It was terrible. I can laugh. But in the moment, it sure as heck wasn't funny. But I could have also carried that with me for a long time and been really angry. My mom found out. They called my mom. I don't know if they told her what the note said. She never told me. She probably knew and just didn't tell me because it was bad enough. But she didn't let me go to dance that night. And that was like, that's all you needed to do was take dance away from me for a night. She's like, you don't get to do that. You don't get to go to dance after you behaved like this. And I was like, can I go tomorrow? And she didn't tell me yes. I remember I was like on a cliff, waiting. And it's growth. That's exactly where I was going with this. Yeah, it's growth. So when you can see your past stories, good, bad, ugly, whether they're you in charge or anyone else in charge, you can see them from a different perspective. Sarah just hit it nail on the head. It's growth. And I started the whole topic today with emotional intelligence, emotional maturity. Who doesn't want to be more mature every day? Who doesn't want to be more emotionally in control of their body and their mind and their heart? Who doesn't want to be more intelligent every day? Who doesn't want to grow in those areas? Right? We all do, or we wouldn't be in this community. We wouldn't be like-minded and connected to each other. There wouldn't be 406 members here that didn't. Do you remember that, Aunt Teresa? I didn't realize you were watching. Do you remember that story? I haven't thought about it until just now. See, I don't plan these things. It just comes out. It was awful. It was awful. Awful. I thought all of a sudden every teacher was going to hate me. Like I was a good kid. I had like A honor roll. And all of a sudden I do something stupid. And the teachers, there's 3 teachers, by the way, sitting there. And they were all the heads of the different departments. And they were all looking at me like I was this like monster. And I was like, I'm so sorry. I'll never do it again. I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to. I didn't mean to. Oh boy. So yeah, it teaches us something. So grow, you guys, face your stories, face your beliefs, check in like we did over the last 3 days. Please join the circle if you feel like you need community. Need, want, desire, community. Not only are we going to be doing this really fun work, yes, it's fun, okay, can be heavy, but it's fun. Not only are we going to be doing this, take it out, but we are also going to be moving our body, and that's what's going to make it fun, okay? When you realize that as you do this work mentally, emotionally, logically, we're going to also be doing physical work, you realize how much power you have within you. And truly, when you realize how powerful you are because you are connected with source energy, nothing can get in your way. No perspective can make you feel that you're truly crap because you're not. That's not true. Or that you're stuck. You're not. That's not true. It's not. So we're going to have a lot of fun. Teresa, you're making me laugh. We're going to have a lot of fun. We are going to grow. We are going to stretch. And we are going to truly come alive. That's why I called it that. So if you want to join that, I'll put the link here in it's in this page already, but I'll put it here in this thread as well. And you guys, I'm going to wrap it up to say, please keep the conversation going this week. Share any scenarios where your perspective shifting helped you to overcome something. And ask yourself, I wrote this down, ask yourself, what's another way that you can look at this challenge? So whatever your challenge is, big, small, doesn't matter. Ask yourself, what's another way I can look at this? What could the other side of this coin be? There's always another way. Always, always, always. Okay? So that is the end of what I wanted to say. Ask yourself that question, share your stories, you guys. I hope you have a beautiful rest of your Monday. If you are in Tap and Tone, I will see you guys live tomorrow for Tap, beginner and intermediate. And we are kicking off Come Alive Coaching Circle on Thursday. And Friday, we are coming back together on live in our community for our fitness, our stretching class. And it's a busy week. And Wednesday, if you are in abundance, and the coaching circle, I'm going to see you every day this week. Thank you, Sarah. So we have Tap and Tone tomorrow. We have abundance coaching call on Wednesday, and we have a guest coming in. I'm really excited about what she's going to share. And then Thursday, we have Come Alive, and Friday, we have fitness. It's a good week, guys. It's a good week. All right. Have a beautiful rest of your day, everybody. Thank you again. I get to move my body because I am capable. That is a perspective, and it's a beautiful one. And we can always take a perspective like that. The get word is huge. We talked about this in abundance one time. You guys, I don't have to do anything. I have to do the laundry. No, I don't. I get to do the laundry. That's huge. I have to go take out the garbage. I get to take out the garbage. Please change that one word in your narratives. Stop saying I have to. I still do it. And I've been practicing I get to for a couple of years now. I'll still catch myself like, oh, I have to do this still. I get to do this. And then sometimes I'll skip around like a little leprechaun and I'm like, my kids think I'm crazy. And maybe they're right, but I will correct them too. And guess what? When you lead by example, your children are better off for it. My kids are going to learn this so young. It took me until I was in my 30s to learn that. So you get to move your body. Yes, Sarah. Love it. All right, everybody. Have a beautiful rest of your Monday. Thank you guys for being here. And we're going to sit here for a second together because, oh, there's the button. Okay. Bye, everybody. Oh, we're still sitting here. I don't know if it's working or not. We're just going to do this. I'm going to use a different button and I'm going to keep talking because I think it's still on. I love you guys. Bye, everybody.